Day 5995. I wake up thinking of yesterday. The joy is in remembering, the pain is in knowing it was yesterday. I'm not there. I'm not in Justin's bed, not in Justin's body. Today I'm Leslie Wong. I have slept through the alarm, and my mother is mad. Get up, she yells, shaking my new body. You have 20 minutes, and then Owen leaves. Okay, Mom, I groan. Mom, if your mother was here, I can't imagine what she'd say. I quickly access Leslie's mind. Grandmother, then. Mom's already left for work. As I stand in the shower, trying to remind myself I have to make it a quick one, I lose myself for a minute in thoughts of Rhiannon. I'm sure I dreamt of her. I wonder if I started dreaming when I was in Justin's body. Did he continue to dream? Will he wake up thinking sweetly of her? Or is that just another kind of dream on my part? Leslie, come on. I get out of the shower, dry off, and get dressed quickly. Leslie's not, I can tell, a particularly popular girl. The few photos of friends she has around seem choices are more like a 13-year-old's than a 16-year-old's. I head into the kitchen and the grandmother glares at me. Don't forget your clarinet, she warns. I won't, I mumble. There's the boy at the table giving me an evil look. Leslie's brother, I assume, and then confirm it. Owen, a senior, my ride to school. I have gotten very used to the fact that most mornings in most homes are exactly the same. Stumbling out of the bed, stumbling into the shower, mumbling over the breakfast table, or if the parents are still asleep, in the tiptoe out of the house. The only way to keep it interesting is to look for the variations. This morning's variation comes care of Owen, who lights up a joint the minute we get into the car. I'm assuming this is part of his morning routine, so I make sure Leslie doesn't seem as surprised as I am. Still, Owen has his don't say a word, about 3 minutes into the ride. I stare out the window. 2 minutes later, he says, Look, I don't need your judgment, okay? The joint is done by then. It doesn't make him any mellower. I prefer to be an only child. In the long term, I can see how siblings could be helpful in life. Someone to share family secrets with. Someone of your own generation who knows if your memories are right or not. Someone who sees you at 8 and 18 and 48 and at all and doesn't mind. I understand that, but in the short term, siblings are at the best a hassle and at worst a terror. Most of the abuse I have suffered in my admittedly unusual life has come from brothers and sisters, with older brothers and older sisters being by and large the worst offenders. At first I was naive and assumed that brothers and sisters were natural allies, instant companions, and sometimes the context would allow this to happen. If we were on a family trip, for example, or if it was a lazy Sunday, where teaming up with me was my siblings' only form of entertainment. But on ordinary days, the rule is competition, not collaboration. There are times when I wonder whether brothers and sisters are, in fact, the ones who sense that something is off with whatever person I'm inhabiting and move to take advantage. When I was 8, an older sister told me we were going to run away together, then abandoned the together part when we got to the train station, leaving me to wander there for hours, too scared to ask for help, scared that she would find out and berate me for ending our game. As a boy, I've had brothers, both older and younger, wrestle me, hit me, kick me, bite me, shove me, and call me more names than I could ever catalog. The best I can hope for is a quiet sibling. At first I have Owen pegged as one of those. In the car it appears I'm wrong. But then once we get out at school it appears I'm right again. With our other kids around he retreats into invisibility, keeping his head down as he makes his way inside, leaving me completely behind. No goodbye, no have a nice day. Just a quick glance to see that my door is closed before he locks the door. What are you looking at? A voice asked me over my left shoulder as I watch him enter the school alone. I turn around and do some serious accessing. Carrie, best friend since 4th grade. Just my brother. Why? He's such a waste of space. Here's the strange thing. I'm fine thinking the same words myself, but hearing them come out of Carrie's mouth makes me feel defensive. Come on, I say. Come on? Are you kidding me? Now I think she knows something I don't. I decide to keep my mouth shut. She seems relieved to change the subject. What did you do last night? She asks. Flashes of Rhiannon rise in my mind's eye. I try to tamp them down, but they're not that easy to contain. Once you experience enormity, it lingers everywhere you look, and wants to be every word you say. Not much, I push on, not bothering to access Leslie. This answer always works, no matter what the question. You? You didn't get my text? I mumble something about my phone dying. That explains why you haven't asked me yet. Guess what? Corey, I'm me? We've chatted for like almost an hour. Wow. Yeah, isn't it? Corey sighs contentedly. After all this time, I didn't even know if she knew my screen name. You didn't tell him, did you? More accessing. This is the kind of question that can really trip a person up. Maybe not right away, but in the future. If Leslie claims she wasn't the one who told Corey and Carrie finds out she was, it could throw their friendship off balance. Or if Leslie claims she was and Carrie finds out she wasn't. Corey is Corey Handelman, a junior who Carrie's had a crush on for at least three weeks. Leslie doesn't know him well, and I can't find a memory of giving a screen name to him. I think it's safe. No, I say, shaking my head. I didn't. Well, I guess he really had to work hard to find it, she says. Or I think he just saw it on your Facebook profile. I immediately feel guilty for my snarky thoughts. This is the hard part about having best friends that I feel no attachment to. I don't give them any benefit of the doubt, and being best friends is always about the benefit of the doubt. Carrie is very excited about Corey, so I pretend to be very excited for her. It's only after we separate for homeroom that I feel an emotion kicking at me. One I thought I had under control, jealousy. Although I'm not articulating it to myself in so many words, I'm feeling jealous that Carrie can have Corey while I can never have Rhiannon. Ridiculous, I chastise myself. You are being ridiculous. When you live as I do, you cannot indulge in jealousy. If you do, it will rip you apart. Third period is band class. I tell the teacher that I left my clarinet at home, even though it's in my locker. Leslie gets marked down and has to take the class as a study hall, but I don't care. I don't know how to play the clarinet. Word about Carrie and Corey travels fast. All of our friends are talking about it, and mostly they're pleased. I can't tell, though, whether they're pleased because it's a perfect match, or because now Carrie will shut up about it. When I see Corey at lunchtime, I'm unsurprised by how unremarkable he is. People are rarely as attractive in reality as they are in the eyes of the people who are in love with them, which is, I suppose, as it should be. It's almost heartening to think that the attachment you have can define your perception as much as any other influence. Corey comes over at lunch to say hi, but he doesn't stay or to eat with us. Even though we make room for him at our table, Carrie doesn't seem to notice this. She's just giddy that he's come by, that she didn't dream the whole I am exchange, that chatting has escalated into speaking, and who knows what will happen next. As I suspected, Leslie does not move in a fast crowd. These girls are thinking of kissing, not sex. The lips are the gates of their desire. I want to run away again, to skip the second half of the day, but it wouldn't be right without her. It feels like I'm wasting time. I mean, that's always the case. My life doesn't add up to anything, except for an afternoon it did. Yesterday is another world. I want to go back there. Early 6th period, right after lunch, my brother is called down to the principal's office. At first I think I may have heard it wrong, but then I see other people in class looking at me, including Carrie, who has pity in her eyes, so I must have heard it right. I'm not alarmed. I figure it was something really bad. I figure if it was something really bad, they would have called us both. Nobody in my family has died. Our house hasn't burned down. It's Owen's business, not mine. Carrie sends me a note. What happened? I send a shrug in her direction. How am I supposed to know? I just hope I haven't lost my ride home. Sixth period ends. I gather my books and head to English class. The book is Be a Wolf, so I'm completely prepared. I've done this unit plenty of times. I'm about 10 steps away from the classroom when someone grabs me. I turn and there's Owen. Owen bleeding. Shh, he says. Just come with me. What happened? I ask. Just shh, okay? He's looking around like he's being chased. I decide to go along. After all, this is more exciting than Be a Wolf. We get to a supply closet. He motions me in. Are you kidding me? I say. Leslie. There is no arguing. I follow him in. I find the light switch easily. He's breathing hard. For a moment, he doesn't say anything. Tell me what happened, I say. I think I might be in trouble. Duh. I heard you called to the principal's office. Why aren't you down there? I was down there. I mean, before the announcement, but then I left. You bolted from the principal's office? Yeah, well, the waiting room. They went to check my locker. I'm sure of it. The blood is coming from a cut above his eye. Who hit you? I ask. It doesn't matter. Just shut up and listen to me, okay? I'm listening, but you're not saying anything. I don't think Leslie usually talks back to her older brother, but I don't care. He isn't really paying attention to me anyway. They're going to call home, okay? I need you to back me up. He hands me his keys. Just go home after school and see what the situation is. I'll call you. Luckily, I know how to drive. When I don't argue, he takes it as a acquiescence. Thanks, he tells me. Are you going to the principal's office now? I ask him. He leaves without an answer. Carrie has the news by the end of the day. Whether it's the truth doesn't really matter. It's the news that's going around, and she's eager to report it to me. Your brother and Joseph Wolf got into a fight and out by the field during lunch. They are saying it had to do with drugs and that your brother is a dealer or something. I mean, I knew he was into pot and everything, but I had no idea he dealt. He and Charles were dragged down to the principal's office, but Owen decided to run. Can you believe it? They were pegging him to come back, but I don't think he did. Who'd you hear it from? I asked. She's giddy with excitement. From Corey. He wasn't out there, but some of the guys he hangs out with saw the fight and everything. I see now that the fact that Corey told her is the bigger news here. She's not so selfish that she wants me to congratulate her, not with my brother in trouble, but it's clear what her priority is. I've got to drive home, I say. Do you want me to come with you? Carrie asks. I don't want you to have to walk in there alone. For a second, I'm tempted. But then I imagine her giving Corey the blow-by-blow account of what went down, and even if that's not a fair assumption to make, it's enough to make me realize I don't want her there. It's okay, I say. If anything, this is really going to make me look like the good daughter. Carrie laughs, but more out of support than humor. Tell Corey I say hi. I say playfully as I close my locker. She laughs again, this time out of happiness. Where is he? I haven't even stepped through the kitchen door and the interrogation begins. Leslie's mother, father, and grandmother are all there, and I don't need to access her mind to know this is an unusual occurrence and at 3 in the afternoon. I have no idea, I say. I'm glad he didn't tell me this way. I don't have to lie. What do you mean you have no idea? My father asks. He's the lead inquisitor in this family. I mean, I have no idea. He gave me the keys to the car, but he wouldn't tell me what was going on. And you let him walk away? I didn't see any police chasing after him, I say. Then I wonder if there are, in fact, police chasing after him. My grandmother snorts in disgust. You always take his side, my father intones, but not this time. This time you're going to tell us everything. He doesn't realize he's just helped me. Now I know that Leslie always takes Owen's side, so my instinct is correct. You probably know more than I do, I say. Why would your brother and Josh Wolf have a fight? My mother asks, genuinely bewildered. They're such good friends. My mental image of Josh Wolf is of a 10-year-old, leading me to believe that at one point my brother probably was good friends with Josh Wolf, but not anymore. Sit down, my father commends, pointing to a kitchen chair. I sit down. Now, where is he? I genuinely don't know. She's telling the truth, my mother says. I can't tell when she's lying. I can tell when she's lying. Even though I have way too many control issues to do drugs myself, I'm starting to get a sense of why Owen likes to get stoned. Well, let me ask this then, my father continues. Is your brother a drug dealer? This is a very good question. My instinct is no, but a lot depends on what happened on the field with Josh Wolf, so I don't answer. I just stare. Josh Wolf says the drugs in his jacket were sold to him by your brother, my father prods. Are you saying they weren't? Did they find any drugs on Owen? I ask. No, my mother answers. And in his locker? Didn't they search his locker? My mother shakes her head. And in his room? Did you find any in his room? My mother actually looks surprised. I know you looked in his room, I say. We haven't found anything, my father answers. Yet. And we also need to take a look in that car, so if you will please give me the keys. I'm hoping that Owen was smart enough to clear out the car. Either way, it's not up to me. I hand over the keys. Unbelievably, they searched my room too. I'm sorry, my mother says from the hallway, tears in her eyes now. He thought your brother might have hidden the drugs in here without you knowing. It's fine, I say, more to get her out of the room than anything else. I'm just going to clean up now. But I'm not quick enough. My phone rings. I hold it so my mom can't see Owen's name on the display. Hi, Carrie, I say. Owen is at least smart enough to keep his voice down so it won't be overheard. Are they mad? He whispers. I want to laugh. What do you think? That bad? They've ransacked his room, but they haven't found anything. They're looking in his car now. Don't tell her that, my mother says. Get off the phone. Sorry, Mom's here and not happy about me talking to you about this. Where are you? Are you at home? Can I call you back? I don't know what to do. Yeah, he really does have to come home eventually, doesn't he? Look, meet me in a half hour at the playground, okay? I really have to go, but yes, I'll do that. I hang up. My mother's still looking at me. I'm not the one you're mad at, I remind her. Poor Leslie will have to clean up the mess in her room tomorrow morning. I can't be bothered to figure out where everything goes. That would take too much accessing, and the priority is finding out which playground Owen means. There's one at an elementary school about 4 blocks from the house. I assume that's the place. It's not easy to sneak out of the house. I wait until the three of them return to Owen's room to tear it apart again, then skulk out the back door. I know this is a risky maneuver. The minute they realize I'm gone, there'll be hell to pay. There will be hell to pay. But if Owen comes back with me, that'll all be forgotten. I know I should be focusing on the matter at hand, but I can't help but think of Rhiannon. School's now over for her, too. Is she hanging out with Justin? If so, is he treating her well? Did anything about yesterday rub off on him? I hope, but never expect. Owen's not nowhere to be found, so I head to the swings and hang in the air for a while. Eventually he appears on the sidewalk and heads over to me. "You always pick that swing," he says, sitting down on the swing next to mine. "I do?" I say. "Yeah." I'll wait for him to say something else. He doesn't. "Owen," I finally say, "what happened?" He shakes his head. He's not going to tell me. I stop swinging and plant my feet on the ground. "This is stupid, Owen. You have 5 seconds to tell me what happened, or I'm going to head right back home and you'll be on your own for whatever happens next." Owen is surprised. What do you want me to say? Josh Wolf gets me my pot. Today we got into a fight over it. He was saying I owed him when I didn't. He started pushing me around, so I pushed him back, and we got caught. He had the drugs, so he said I'd just sold them to him. Real smooth. I said that was totally wrong, but he's in all AP classes and everything, so who do you think they're going to believe? He has definitely convinced himself it's the truth, but whether it started out being the truth or not, I can't tell. "Well," I say, "you have to come home. Dad's trashed your room, but they haven't found any drugs yet. And they didn't find any in your locker, and I'm guessing they didn't find any in your car, or I would have heard about it. So right now, it's all okay. I'm telling you, there aren't any drugs. I used the weed up this morning. That's why I needed more from Josh. Josh, your former best friend." "What are you talking about? I haven't been friends with him since we were like 8. I'm sensing that this was the last time Owen had a best friend. "Let's go," I tell him. "It's not the end of the world." Easy for you to say. I'm not expecting our father to hit Owen, but as soon as he sees him in the house, he decks him. I think I'm the only one who is truly stunned. "What have you done?" my father is yelling. "What stupid thing have you done?" Both my mother and I move to stand between them. Grandma just watches from the sidelines, looking mildly pleased. "I haven't done anything," Owen protests. "Is that why you run away? Is that why you're being expelled? Because you haven't done anything?" "They won't expel him until they hear his side of the story," I point out, fairly sure this is true. "Stay out of this," my father warns. "Why don't we all sit down and talk this over?" my mother suggests. The anger rises of my father like heat. I feel myself receding in a way that I'm guessing is not unusual for Leslie when she's with her family. I become nostalgic for that first waking moment of the morning, back before I had any idea what ugliness the day would bring. We sit down this time in the den, or rather Owen, our mother, and I sit down. Owen and me on the couch, our mother in a nearby chair. Our father hovers over us. Our grandmother stays in the doorway as if she's keeping lookout. "You're a drug dealer," our father yells. "I am not a drug dealer," Owen answers. "For one, if I were a drug dealer, I'd have a lot of money. And I'd have a stash of drugs that you would have found by now." Owen, I think, needs to shut up. "Josh Wolf was the drug dealer. I volunteer. Not Owen. So what was your brother doing? Buying from him?" "Maybe. I think I'm the one who needs to shut up." "Our fight had nothing to do with drugs," Owen says. "They just found them on him afterward." "Then what were you and Josh fighting about?" our mother asks, as if the fact that these two boyhood chums fought is the most unbelievable thing that's occurred. "A girl," Owen says. "We were fighting about a girl." I wonder if Owen thought this one out ahead of time, or whether it's come to him spontaneously. Whatever the case, it's probably the only thing he could have possibly said that would have made our parents momentarily happy. Momentarily happy might be overstating it, but less angry. They don't want their son to be buying or selling drugs, being bullied or bullying anyone else. But fighting over a girl, perfectly acceptable, especially since I'm guessing it's not like Owen's ever mentioned a girl to them before. Owen sees he's gained ground. He pushes further. if she found out, oh God, she can't find out. I know some girls like it when you fight over them, but she definitely doesn't. Mom nods her approval. What's her name? Dad asks. Do I have to tell you? Yes. Natasha. Natasha Lee. Wow, he's even made her Chinese. Amazing. Do you know this girl? Dad asks me. Yes, I say. She's awesome. Then I turn to Owen and shoot him fake daggers. But Romeo over here never told me he was into her. Although now that he says it, it's starting to make sense. He has been acting weird, very weird lately. Mom nods again. He has. Eyes bloodshot, I want to say. Eating a lot of Cheetos, staring into space, eating more Cheetos, it must be love. What else could it possibly be? What was threatening to be an all-out war becomes a war console, with our parents strategizing what the principal can be told, especially about the running away. I hope for Owen's sake that Natasha Lee is, in fact, a student at this high school, whether he has a crush on her or not. I can't access any memory of her. If the name rings a bell, the bell's in a vacuum. Now that our father can see a way of saving face, he's almost amiable. Owen's big punishment is that he has to go clean up his room before dinner. I can't imagine I would have gotten the same reaction if I'd beaten up another girl over a boy. I follow Owen up to his room. When we are safely inside, door closed, no parents around, I tell him, that was kinda brilliant. He looks at me with unconcealed annoyance and says, I don't know what you're talking about. Get out of my room. This is why I prefer to be an only child. I have a sense that Leslie would let it go, so I should let it go. That's the law I've set down for myself. Don't disrupt the life you're living in. Leave it as close to the same as you can. But I'm pissed, so I diverge a little from the law. I think, perversely, that Rhiannon would want me to, even though she has no idea who Owen and Leslie are, or who I am. Look, I say, you lying little pothead bitch. You are going to be nice to me, okay? Not only because I'm covering your butt, but because I'm the one person in the world right now who is being decent to you. Is that understood? Shocked and maybe a little contrite, Owen mumbles his assent. Good, I say, knocking a few things off his shelves. Now, happy cleaning. Nobody talks at dinner. I don't think this is unusual. I wait until everyone is asleep before I go to the computer. I retrieve Justin's email and password from my own email, then log in as him. There's an email from Rhiannon sent at 10:11 p.m. Jay, I just don't understand. Was it something I did? Yesterday was so perfect, and today you're mad at me again. If it's something I did, please tell me and I'll fix it. I want us to be together. I want all our days to end on a nice note, not like tonight. With all my heart, R. I reel back in my seat. I want to hit reply. I want to reassure her that it will be better, but I can't. You're not him anymore. I have to remind myself, you're not there. And then I think, what have I done? I hear Owen moving around in his room, hiding evidence, or is fear keeping him awake? I wonder if he'll be able to pull it off tomorrow. I want to get back to her. I want to get back to yesterday. Day 5969. All I get is tomorrow. As I fall asleep, I had a glint of an idea, but as I wake up, I realized the glint has no light left in it. Today I'm a boy, Skylar Smith, soccer player, but not a star soccer player. Clean room, but not compulsively so. Video game console in his room, ready to wake up, parents asleep. He lives in a town that's about a 4-hour drive from where Rhiannon lives. This is nowhere near close enough. It's an uneventful day, as most are. The only suspense comes from whether I can access things fast enough. Soccer practice is the hardest part. The coach keeps calling out names and I have to access like crazy to figure out who everyone is. It's not Skylar's best day at practice, but he doesn't embarrass himself. I know how to play most sports, but I've also learned my limits. I found this out the hard way when I was 11. I woke up in the body of some kid who was in the middle of a ski trip. I thought that, hey, skiing had always looked fun, so I figured I'd try. Learn it as I went. How hard could it be? The kid had hardly graduated from the bunny slopes, and I didn't even know there was such a thing as a bunny slope. I thought skiing was like sledding. One hill fits all. I broke the kid's leg in 3 places. The pain was pretty bad, and I honestly wondered if, when I woke up the next morning, I would still feel the pain of the broken leg, even though I was in a new body. But instead of the pain, I felt something just as bad, the fierce, living weight of terrifying guilt, just as if I'd rammed him with a car. I was consumed by the knowledge that a stranger was lying in a hospital bed because of me, and if he didn't die, I wondered if I would have died too. And if he'd died, I wondered if I would have died too. There is no way for me to know. All I know is that in a way, it doesn't matter. Whether I die or just wake up the next morning as if nothing happened, the fact of the death will destroy me. So I'm careful. Soccer, baseball, field hockey, football, softball, basketball, swimming, track, all of those are fine. But I've also woken up in the body of an ice hockey player, a fencer, an equestrian, and once recently a gymnast. I've said all those out. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's video games. It's a universal presence, like TV or the internet. No matter where I am, I usually have access to these things, and video games especially help me calm my mind. After soccer practice, Skylar's friends come over to play World of Warcraft. We talk about school and talk about girls, except for his friends Chris and David, who talk about boys. This, I've discovered, is the best way to waste time because it isn't really wasted, surrounded by friends talking crap and sometimes talking for real with snacks around and something on the screen. I might even be enjoying myself if I could only unmoor myself from the place I want to be.